Okay, guys. So my name is Chirangeevi Patel. I belongs to Hyderabad, and I'm a DevOps, configuration management, build and release, whatever you call. I worked on all of them. Okay, and I have an experience of almost around 10 years. Okay, and I've been working in this from past 9 years. Just only 1 year I worked as a developer, my beginning of career. Then later on I moved into this. Okay, I'm right now working for one of the fleet management system, which is like Fleetmatics is a company in Dublin based in Ireland. Okay, and I'm working here from last almost 9 months. And before that, I was in Hyderabad like around 4 years, and before that, I worked in London. So you can look at my LinkedIn profile if you wanted to know about me, about my experience and all. And training is my kind of a passion because I'm. Kiran, can you please keep yourself in mute because
Yeah, sure.
yeah. So I'm giving the trainings from almost 2009, 10. That okay, almost 7 years now. Okay. So when I was in Hyderabad, I used to give it, and when I'm on site anywhere, I used to take online training. Right now, I'm conducting online trainings from last 9 months. Okay. So when it comes to the training part now, okay. So this session, I mean this training, SCM or Build Release Management and DevOps, you guys might be already gone through kind of a bit information from your friends or like your known persons, or maybe because of some institutes, or maybe because of like somebody might be already working. Okay, so that's how you might be aware of this domain. Okay, so why I'm calling this as a domain is it's not something like a technology. Okay, it's a mix of multiple processes, tools, okay, technologies, everything. So that's the reason I'm calling it as a domain. So this domain at this point of time in the industry is a kind of a mandatory. Okay, mandatory in the sense there are no IT project development. Okay, without a DevOps team or a DevOps role playing in the project management. Okay, so that's how the industry is completely streamlined or converted at this point of time. Okay, this was not the case earlier days. Okay, maybe around 10, 15 years, this is not the case. There's nothing like a build team or a DevOps team and all. Everything is completely a different world. Okay, I'll give you the clear explanation how it was evolved from the inception. Okay, so how it used to be there in the system earlier. Okay, now how it is evolved and where are we at the moment. Okay, and why the market and like people are looking for this skill set candidates. Okay, so generally like I don't show any kind of a presentation. This is just for the sake of like to see something on my screen for you. Okay, so just listen to me. Okay, whatever is written here, it's something like a definition, book reading definitions. Okay, so just go back. I mean, I don't know how many of you are working in the at the moment company. Okay, so before proceeding further, I would need a little bit information about yourself. Okay, just tell me your name and your qualification. If you're working, from how long you're working. If you're not working, also not at all. Okay, so could you please start? Let's start with Kiran. Kiran, could you please give me some introduction about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Kiran, done my MBA.
Okay,
So I'm working as a IT sales for the past 2.5 years.
that's nice. So you work for US clients, right?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, okay. So you are MBA and from last years you're working and you wanted to switch your domain into the IT and you want to come into the IT field, right?
yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks, Kiran. So how about you, Madhukar?
Hi, I'm Madhukar. I have done with my BTech in 2011
Mm-hmm.
and I've been working for Google Maps since 4 years now.
Okay. You're working in Google Maps. That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, many folks came from Google Maps to me actually. Almost,
Yeah, I heard from
yeah.
someone, yeah,
There are more than
about
50
you that.
people. Most of the people are like, came from Google
Mhm.
Maps. Yeah, I know. There are multiple vendors for your company, right? Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks so much. So how about you, Sudhir? Sudhir, can you hear me? Oh, I'm sorry. I think you can't speak up, right? So you said you can't. Okay, no problem. You can just ping me in the chat. Okay, I'll continue with the demo. So when it comes to DevOps, right? So 10 to 15 years before, okay, typically the software development life cycle. Okay, most of you people might be aware of like what SDLC, software development life cycle, is a kind of a backbone of the software development in the industry. Okay, like how a typically product and application will be developed in the IT companies. Okay, so they have to follow the SDLC life cycle, so software development life cycle. So this is just a generic word. Okay, but under SDLC, the people follow different methodologies. Okay, so if any computer science students is there, they might be understanding much better. There are something like waterfall model, okay, spiral model, right? So different models are there. At the moment, people are people are following the Agile, okay, and the Kanban, this kind of a model. Don't worry about all these buzzwords, okay. So these are just process models, and we are not going to do anything with these models, okay. Why I'm trying to say this is, in a layman definition, what is software development lifecycle is, suppose, let me compare with the real world situation. You're constructing a house, okay, so you don't directly go to the land and construct, right? You do so many things before that, okay. You follow a process, okay, like first of all you get a plan, okay. First of all you design a plan, right, and you get a plan document, okay, then you bring the raw material, right, something like that. Then you get the labor and you construct it, okay, and you ask somebody to or you yourself verify whether the construction quality is good or not, okay. Once everything is done, at the end you process into the house. This is what the kind of a process which you follow for your typically construction field, okay. Same thing with the manufacturing as well, okay. So if you are trying to making an equipment, you have to follow some sort of a process. Similarly, in IT world, okay, if you are making an application, okay, then application can be any type. It can be a web application like a website, it can be a web service, okay, or it can be something like a mobile application, it can be embedded application. Embedded nothing but a operating system working on your watch, smartwatch, or a mobile a mobile OS, something like that, okay. It can be anything. So these are all the IT products. All these IT products also go through some sort of a process, okay. So that process we call as different software development life cycle, okay. So how a typically software will go through different life cycles, okay. And the more core phases of a software development life cycle is requirement analysis. This is the first phase of it, okay. And next it goes to the design, right. So in the design phase, typically the architects, the software architects, they will provide entire design document to your product, how your end product is going to be work, and entire the workflow, everything the design over here in the design phase, okay. It's kind of a blueprint. Like before you construct a house, right, you get an architecture plan from a architect, okay. So that is not a constructed house, it's just a blueprint. So something like that you'll get from the design phase of your software product, okay. Then the next, coding, or you can call it as a development, okay. Development is the actual phase where you construct, or you develop an application, okay, a software or an application or a software or whatever you call it, okay. Then after that, once it is developed, right, somebody should thoroughly verify whether it is properly working or not, okay. That is called the quality phase, okay, quality analysis, right. So then once the quality is done, then it's a time for to make use of it, you will be making use of the product, right. So here making use of is nothing but you need to host somewhere, okay, like production. We call it as a production nothing but now it's in use, okay. So this is how the most of the software development life cycles models, okay, they were divided into 5 phases. This is the first phase, second phase, third, fourth, fifth. And few organizations, they may divide into another couple of phases, they might be having a pre-production and production. Before production, they want to verify somewhere else, okay. They might be having a quality analysis into multiple stages, we wanted to have a functional QA and automated QA, something like that, okay. So internally you might be having different phases, but the core phases are like 5 phases. Hey Sudhir, you can't hear me. Guys, how about others? Can you hear me? Okay, others can
Yeah,
hear.
we
So
can hear you.
yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. Okay, let me check with Sudhir. Yes, Sudhir, others can hear. There might be something wrong with from your end. Please check it out. Okay. Okay, let's come out from this word. So this is something like a brief idea about SDLC. Okay, you might be thinking why I'm explaining the SDLC to you. Okay, how it is related to our job, our nothing but the SCM, DevOps, or whatever you're talking about. Okay, so I'm coming over there now. we're talking in a broad level what is software development life cycle and all. Okay, now let's go a little bit like a deeper level, like who is doing what and all. Okay, now you might be seeing most of your friends working in some sort of a like development role. Okay, like a Java programmer, C# programmer, C programmer, right? Those people are called the developers. Okay, at the same time, you might be seeing your few friends like who are working in a functional testing, manual testing, automation testing, blah blah. There's so many testings are there. Okay, so in IT industry, right, every role fits in this SDLC. Okay, so people who are working in the IT industry, okay, they'll be definitely work for this entire SDLC somewhere in some phase. Okay, now whatever the development people are doing, right, okay, I mean, what are the development they're doing it, okay, what are the role they're fit actually, what are the programming they're doing it, okay, they will be working under the development phase. Okay, so here the typically like Java, C sharp, like these are the examples, guys. Any program, it can be anything. Okay, so the development will happen on the development phase. So nothing but your friends who are the developers, they work at this phase. Okay, everybody work on some different phases. So similarly, your QA friends, like your testing friends, will work on the quality analysis phase. Okay, and again, testing is a big ocean. There are n number of like testing mechanisms out there. It can be any type of testing. So who's are working under like functional testing or automated testing, whatever. Okay, they'll be working over here on that quality analysis phase. Similarly, there are few more people who works for the app support or production support. Okay, I don't know if any of you heard about like your friends working on support role. This support role is typically like administrate or support your production systems. Like you might be heard about 24/7 giving a support to your servers. Okay, so these people typically work on a 24/7. They make sure like the production environment is working properly or not. Okay, so the customers and all, they shouldn't block anywhere, and if they have any issues and all, these guys will look into it. Okay, this is a kind of a production role. And here typically like the app support or app admins or web admins will be working, and these guys are specialists in WebLogic, okay, WebSphere, administrator. So this kind of a role you might be seeing. Okay, these are all the tools which we host on the production. Okay, Tomcat administrator, WebLogic, and DBS. Okay, there is one more role, DBA, database administrators. Okay, so these guys also work under the production support systems. Okay, because they have to fine tune the databases, right? So that's about the production. Now there are two more are there: requirement analysis and the design. And you might be seeing few of your friends like working under as a business analyst or product managers. Okay, what exactly the business analyst, product managers, they do it? They are not the techie guys. Techie guys nothing but they are not the into the IT technical side. Okay, but they are into the product side. Okay, what do you mean by product is? Example, I will give a scenario. I belongs to a company called Infosys. Okay, I'm a software developer. I'm a Java developer. Okay, do you think my management will send me to a company called a health insurance company, okay, and get the requirement and start the project? They don't send me. I'm a technical guy. I know only how to do the coding in Java or whatever the language. Okay, I don't know what kind of a requirements the health insurance company will be giving it. Okay, I don't know any idea about insurance and all. So that's where the management graduates comes into the picture. Typically the MBA guys and all, like who's are into the management side. Okay, those guys are best fit for the BAs and product managers, because they know the domain, product domain. Okay, they know like most of the people like BBA, MBA graduates, they have a specialization like insurance side, manufacturing side. Okay, so different domains. So the companies will recruit these guys as a business analyst. Okay, and they will make use of these people to get the exact requirement from the client. Okay, so if they can get the exact requirement, it is really easy for the next phases to like bring up those requirements into the product. Okay, so that's where the typically the requirement analysis phase, the product, I mean the BAs or product managers, they'll be working over here. And the next, design phase. Okay, so design is a phase where this is really important. Okay, because people think like it's just like a blueprint, right? What is a big deal over there? Okay, so here the product, what are the software product you are trying to make it, right? People, I mean, we need to design it over here. Okay, all the workflows and how it needs to be designed. Example, guys, like somebody is constructing a metro. Okay, in a different domain, like they're constructing a metro in a city. Okay, so do you think like it is that easy to design the entire metro project? It's not that easy. You should have a proper expertise. Okay, good experience, and you should know each and every impact. Okay, so those are all come only with an experience. Okay, it's not that easy to design, because most of the projects will successful only because of, like, if they have a good design. If something wrong or any loophole is there in the design, right, whatever the efforts they put it later, right, okay, nothing will useful. Okay, because the product will be failure. So that's the reason most of the companies, especially at the design level, they will recruit the architects. Okay, so architects are well experienced guys. They know each and everything in and out about the product. Okay, and those guys are the actual guys. They will design your products. Okay, and they will give the blueprints or design documents to the next phase, so that the development guys are nothing. Whatever is there in the blueprint, right, they have to convert that into the actual product. That's it, nothing else they are supposed to do it. So that's how different people are working on the different roles, and this is how the IT development will go, used to go actually earlier, like maybe 15-20 years before. This is how everybody used to work, and they used to deliver the product, right. Now I have explained you every role, like what all IT roles people are doing it, right. Every role I explained you where they will be working and for whom they will be working. See, everybody works for a single IT product. Okay, the product can be anything, any software product, right. So similarly, how all these people are working for some phases, right. Okay, similarly there is one more requirement, like example, you might be you might like to know, like where exactly the DevOps guys works. Okay, where exactly the build engineers work or release engineers will work. So you might be having all these questions in your mind. Okay, so now how it is evolving, like first of all, why the build engineers came into the picture. Okay, now where we will be working. So all these things, let me explain. Now what used to happen earlier in this development phase, I'll take an example of a release. A release, nothing but constructing an application, okay, and delivering to the customer. Constructing nothing but developing an application and delivering to the customer. Okay, and that entire process we call as a release. Example, guys, the Apple, they release every year one model of iPhone, right. So they spend entire 1 year to develop the iPhone, and they release it in the month of, like September or August every year sometime. Okay, and they give a name to it. Okay, like iPhone 7 they give it. Last time it was iPhone 7, maybe next year it is iPhone 8, something like that. So they spend 1 year on it and they release it, right. So the 1 year, whatever they spend it, like from Jan to, let me take it like June. In 6 months they are developing it. Okay, so in the 6 months of time, whatever the efforts they put it, okay, all together, right, and they will make a product and deliver it to the customers. Okay, and this entire process we call it the release process. Okay, in this release they divide the entire time properly, okay, to accommodate the SDLC life cycle. Okay, and they make use of all these roles and all these people to develop this product and deliver it. Okay, same thing happened with every IT product, right. Now look at this. I'm just giving a kind of a draft uh, timelines. Okay, how people typically work. So Jan 1st to Jan 15th, they would have spent on requirement analysis. Okay, now it is a Jan 15th. Okay, now by Feb 15th, this is a design one. Okay, so they spend 1 month on the design. Some draft timelines. Okay, don't assume like these are the correct ones. And most of the time, 60% of the time will go to the development. Okay, so this is a development time. Feb 15th till Feb 15th is a design, and Feb 15th to uh, April, sorry, May 15th. Okay, this is a development time, maybe 4 months, in 6 months or maybe 3 months or 4 months, whatever. Okay, and then May 15th to June 15th, treat it like this as a QA, quality analysis time. Okay, and remaining 15 days for your production deployment. Did you see this? All this life cycle came into the picture of this release process. So to release a product, right, all these people will be working on a timely fashion. Okay, so that they can deliver a product. Okay, this is how earlier people used to work, right. Now what is happening, in the real time scenarios, planning and all, everything is okay, but when it comes to the real world, you don't expect the things to work as you plan. Okay, something may go wrong and something may happen. You may be able to deliver on time, you may not be able to deliver on time. Okay, so what was happening in earlier days was this design phase, requirement analysis phase were going very smoothly. There are no issues at all. Okay, but almost in the 6 months, 4 months they are spending on development, which is 60 to 70% of the time. 60 to 70% of the time here. Okay, and they say n number of issues in dev phase. Okay, what exactly these issues? Because of these issues, what is happening? They were not able to deliver the product on time. The product used to get it delayed. The delivery dates may be a month or 2 months or 3 months. We don't know. Okay, it depends on the type of issues they faced in the development phase, because they wouldn't be able to complete the development on time. They used to drag the development time another 1 month or 2 months. Okay, and if they drag the development time, right, the QA will be postponing, because QA cannot finish until the development is done. Same thing with the production, right? So what exactly these issues at the time of the development? Okay, so let's see one by one all those issues. So earlier days, the project manager, okay, or you can call him as a dev manager. This guy was leading the team. Okay, he is a lead. Okay, and under him, assume he has something three leads: lead 2, lead 3. Okay, he has 3 leads, and under each lead we have something software developers, software engineers. Okay, SC1, SSCs, senior software engineers, and ASC, associate software engineers, something here are some 10 people here. Okay, similarly the lead 2 also is having some 10 people. Okay, and these guys also having some 10 people. Okay, and total the manager is having almost some 33 people under him. Okay, and this manager's job is to complete the entire development phase. And the manager divided the entire product into the 3 modules, and he given 3 modules to 3 module leads, and they are supposed to complete on time and give it to the QA for testing. This is some example project. Okay, now what is happening when lead 1, lead 2, lead 3, okay, when they are working on their modules, typically the project is divided into the project and modules. Okay, so this is assume this is a project. Okay, and this will be having a module 1 and module 2, okay, and module 3. So this is how the projects are defined typically. In each and every module given to each and every lead, and those guys will take care of it. Okay, developing it. But think about from the customer point of view. See, customer or client or whoever it is. Okay, for him it's entirely one product. Okay, it's one product. It's the project is a one product for customer. Okay, it's not a module and all. Module for your development tips, because they don't want to develop. I mean, it's not about they don't want to, but because typically the projects are modularized. Okay, only I mean no one can develop the entire project. Okay, so from a developer point of view, it's a kind of divided into the modules. From a customer point of view, it is only one product. Okay, now assume it is a banking project, guys. Assume it's a banking project. Okay, so a bank is there from one of the city, and he requested you to would you please make all my banking operations into the online system. Okay, which is nothing but he needs to bring get all his requirements into the software system. What are all the banking, see, right now all the bankings are online at the moment, but think about 20, 30 years before. Okay, so we don't have the banking system all together online and maintain it, right? So assume in that transition, okay, a bank came to a service based company, and he is asking to get my entire operations into the system. So now the business BAs or product managers, they got all the requirements, and the architect team entirely, I mean the architecture team given the blueprint, and the development team is supposed to start it. Okay, so the development team got all the modules like this. Assume the module 1 is deposits, okay, and the module 2 is withdrawals, and module 3 is balance. Okay, and similarly you have a few more modules mortgages, loans, blah 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 blah. Okay, so you divide the entire banking project into the multiple modules, and each and every team is working. So for teams, right, when they're working, it's their own module, they work properly and they verify it properly. But when it comes to the customer, the customer will not take the product as a bits and pieces. Okay, he wants all together integrated. Okay, now please listen this word properly, integrated. Okay, so this integration is a big problem between the modules. Okay, especially in the development team phase, right? The module leads, they give more concentration on their module development, but they give a very less priority to the integration, because this project cannot be completed until unless all these modules are integrated. Assume, like, in departs module, he is depositing it, and where he will check the balance, he needs to connect to the balance module. Same thing in a withdrawal, he is withdrawing something, he want to test something, and where he needs to check the balance here. Same thing, like, something interrelated with the loads and all. So everything is an interrelated one. Okay, so when it is interrelated one, teams should work together. Okay, but they are not working like that. So how they are working, I'll show you now. See, this is a module 1 team. Okay, module 2 team, module 3 team, and they completed it. Okay, and they all 3 teams completed their work, and there are only 2 days left. Assume there are only 2 days left. Okay, in these 2 days, the project manager asks the leads to, okay, integrate the code and give the entire product to the testing team so that they can verify all the operations. Okay, now when it comes to the integration, okay, code integration, which is your module code integration. Okay, modules integration, right? So when it comes to the module integration, there were n number of integration errors, or you can call it as a bugs, or you can call it as a issues, anything. Okay, there are n number of errors or bugs or issues, whatever they found it, actually all the leads and all. Okay, now the project manager called all the leads and he's saying, like, why we have these many issues and all. Okay, so how much time you're gonna spend to, like, sort out the issues. So they have only 2 days. Okay, but when they ran the integration between all these things, right, all these modules, assume, like, they found some 1,000 bugs. Okay, 1,000 bugs or issues they found it. Okay, which are really difficult to sort out in the 2 days and give it to the QA, right? Now when they can't sort out the 1,000 bugs in 2 days, what will happen? The manager will ask the developer and lead, like, how much time you want it. Okay, so if you want something like, another 2 days or 3 days, he cannot help it, he needs to give it, otherwise the project cannot be proceeded further. So assume, like, 1,000 bucks, these people ask, like, we would need 15 days more time to finish this integration bugs and release the product. So assume, like, they took the 15 days more. Okay, right, here the development has been completed. Right, now what happened if they took the 15 days more? Now the QA team says, like, for us only 15 days left. Okay, we can't finish within the 15 days, we would need like, 1 month total. So by June 30, actually by June 30 they are supposed to release the product. Okay, but June 30 only the QA is done, the production deployment is done. The production team says, like, we would need the 15 days to deploy it, we cannot complete before that. So now it is going when? July 15th. Okay, the project is going to release on July 15th. Now whom do you blame here, actually? Okay, you cannot blame the design architecture teams, or you cannot blame the QA and the production. Okay, you can blame the dev. Again, when it comes to the dev, right, will you blame the module 1 lead? You won't be, because when you test their module independently, not an integration world, okay, independently, it is working absolutely fine without any issues. Same thing applies to other module as well. The problem here is when they integrate all the modules in a development phase, okay, they were having n number of issues, and the project manager or the module lead, they were not able to fix them within the given time. Okay, and they took some extra time. That extra time pushed the rest of the phases into the forward way. Okay, now they released the product on July 15, which is a 15 days delay. Okay, this kind of a delays, okay, were not accepted from the customers or client. The reason, example, let me give you an example. Assume, like, the bank announced with his customer saying, like, we are going to get a net banking from the June 30th onwards. Okay, and he gonna do such an advertisement, like he spend a lot of money on the advertisement with his customers to, like, give a nice gift to his customer, saying, like, you guys can do the transactions over the online from June 30 onwards. Now if you are not able to deliver the product by June 30, do you think, like, the customer will giving the further products to you, further enhancements? Okay, no way. I mean, you can't expect anything from the customer. So that's the kind of a situation was there in earlier days. There are n number of projects are available. Okay, the demand is huge. IT demand is huge, okay, but the service, I mean the IT companies, the service companies, they are not able to handle the demand, okay, and they are not able to complete the things on time. They always used to cross the deadlines, right? So this is the kind of a situation they are facing it. And if you look at, go back and see the reason, everything is fine except the development phase. But you should be careful with the development phase. The reason it is, the most of the time you spend on development time only, 60 to 70% of your 6 months time, okay. So this is one issue. I'm not talking about like, entire, like, this is what the issue people will be facing. Code integration is only one issue, okay. Now what happened, the project management team learned a lesson now, okay. They learned a lesson, like, because of these integration issues, they are not able to deliver the product on time. Now what we do, okay, now they got a new project now, okay. Now this time they shouldn't repeat this mistake again, right? So to avoid this mistake, okay, what they were doing is, instead of doing the integration at the end, okay, uh, look at this. This is what the development phase, okay. This is how the development phase. Now what will happen, the module 1, module 2, module 3 guys, M1, M2, M3 guys, everybody will develop on same day, everybody will start working on same day, okay, but they'll put a process in place. What exactly the process is, integrate all modules every day. Did you get my point? Okay. So earlier was they complete all the modules development, at the end they used to integrate it. Now they need to integrate the modules every day. You might be thinking, how do you integrate without completing it? Okay, that's what the logic. Okay, assume like, M1 completed 10% of the coding. Okay, M2 completed 10% of the coding. Okay, M1, M2 are the modules. M3 completed another 15% of the coding. Okay, so this is in the first day or first 2 days. Now what you do is integrate all M1 plus M2 plus M3, M1 plus M2 plus M3, and assume like, when it is a 10%, 15% coding, you don't get $1,000 and all. Maybe you will be getting some $20 or maybe $30. Okay, very few number of issues. Okay, now what is the project manager role here is to, like, he needs to enforce the development leads, okay, on a second day. This is what the second day, right? On the second day of the development, the priority is first fix the integration issues, okay, integration issues, right? Then once you complete that, then you proceed with the next development. Next development, nothing but they did only 10%, the rest of thing they have to do it, right? So if you follow this process, right, every day when you are integrating it like this, every day when you're integrating it, at the end of the day, you don't find $1,000 guys, okay. You will again end up with maybe like, some 10 to $20, not more than that, okay. 10 or $20 at the end of the day, okay. Now at the end of the day, 10 or $20 hardly will take 1 day or 2 days, just like how they are doing it every day, okay. Now there is no way you will be end up with the integration issues, and you can give the project on time to the QA. This is what the solution guys, okay. It's a simple process solution. Let me give you a real-time example. Something like, a student studying for exam, at the end of the exam may always a risky thing, okay. He may pass or he may fail, but he studies from the beginning, right, okay. He's 100% sure he's gonna pass, okay. So something like that. So a code integration is a big issue in the development, okay, and if you try to follow the integration every day, okay, that is going to solve the problem. And this solution we call it as a continuous integration, okay, continuous integration. So this is what the solution, okay. Now all are good. So okay, now you found a problem and you found a solution as well, okay. Now who is going to implement this? Okay, now you found a problem and you have a solution as well, okay. Now who is going to implement this? So when it comes to the implementation part, earlier, like, maybe 15 years before, when this team is there, okay, what happened, the project manager is there, right? This project manager chosen one of the SC or some ASC, some developer is chosen, okay. Now he asked the developer, okay, a normal software engineer developer, okay, SC developer, and he asked this developer, your job is every day to perform the continuous integration, which is also called CI, okay. Continuous integration is also called CI, okay. So in a shortcut, right? So perform CI on all modules. So this guy job is to perform continuous integration on all modules every day, right? So this is what he is supposed to do it every day. Okay, now to perform this, he needs to spend at least 2 hours every day, right? Now in a 8 hours job, he left with 6 hours. So rest of 6 hours he will be doing his development, coding and all, right? So this is how they used to perform. Now what happened in the next release? This is what the first release. Okay, in the next release they found another problem, not a code integration problem, something else. Okay, so again what they did, they found a solution as well, and they asked this guy to perform the same stuff. Okay, now you need to sort out the second issue. It was a code integration issue earlier, now something like a new issue. Okay, so for this issue they are asking like you need to spend every day 1 hour on this. Okay, now 1 hour for this issue. So similarly there is few more. Okay, so that's why there are almost like 5 to 6 important issues are there. Okay, and all these issues they keep on giving to the same developer, and now this developer entire 8 hours he is spending on, okay, these issues and their solutions. Okay, he's trying to work on all those solutions, right? Now when he's working on this, he got 0 hours to do any kind of a development. Okay, now you don't call him as a developer because he's not doing any kind of a development, right? Now this guy they treat like a completely different role, and they, instead of calling him as a developer, they treated him as a different role, and they given a name called like a build engineer or a release engineer. Okay, right? So this is the kind of a name they give, or an SCM engineer. Okay, I'll give you why it is called SCM engineer. And you might be thinking, why these many names? Because nobody is specific. Okay, it was in inception phase, it was evolving. Different companies have different problems. Based on their problem, based on their issue, okay, they again different roles. So now the problem, continuous integration problem, right? So they call him as a CA engineer. Okay, now what CA engineer will do, he does the continuous integration every day and sort out the problems, right? So they are given a different names on different companies, but ultimately their job is to streamline, okay, the problems, okay, sort out the problems, okay, perform these operational activities, okay, and make sure the release process goes smoothly. There won't be any kind of a blockers. Okay, so with a different name, and finally at this point of time we got some official name called DevOps. Okay, so it's not an official name now. Industry is getting standardized, and they started calling this role as a DevOps role. Okay, so you might be thinking, what are all the things we do? Okay, that's what is all about our training. Okay, as a DevOps engineer or a build engineer, what you going to do it in your project? Okay, now let me show you where exactly you will be sitting in this life cycle. Okay, so you just look at this: design phase, development phase, quality analysis phase. So build and release engineer or a DevOps engineer, whoever it is. Okay, we closely work with all these teams. Okay, not only this diagram needs to be modified. Okay, so we work with development team most of the time, and QA team, okay, and production team, right? Something like this. Okay, so we are a kind of a centralized team. We work with the multiple teams. Okay, there is one more infrastructure team is there, but you can ignore about that right now. Okay, now this team was not there earlier. Now we came into the process model. Okay, and we are playing a really crucial role. Our role makes the developers, QAs and production support engineers and keep their lives easy. Otherwise the project cannot move that easily forward. Okay, and they cannot do the things like earlier they used to do it as smoother as like because the technology is changing day by day, requirements are changing, competition is increasing. Okay, and you cannot ask a developer to perform a continuous integration, you cannot ask a QA to like perform a deployment. So every day as the technology evolving, right, they want somebody to take care of all these operational activities. Okay, the main funda of this role is take care of operational activities of developers and QA guys and production. Okay, operational activities of all developers and QA and production. So nothing but whatever the operational activities, they do it. Okay, you might be thinking, what do you mean by operational activities? A simple example I'll give you in a real world. Guys, a HR is doing a job called recruiting the people and training them. Okay, so would you ask the HR to purchase the office stationery from the going to a shop and purchasing the office stationery? That is not the HR job actually. Okay, in earlier days, even that job is done by the HR. So something like that. Developers' job is to do the coding. They are not supposed to do any build and perform the continuous integration, deploying to the things and all. That is not their job. But earlier days, like in 10-15 years before, they used to perform all these tasks so that they don't have expertise on that. Okay, now let me compare with the real-time situation. If an HR goes to the supermarket, okay, or some market and purchases stationery, right, the HR don't even have what is the actual brand they need to purchase, what quality they have to get it, what quantity they need to get it, what are the standards. Okay, they don't know anything. They blindly buy something and they make use of it. That's how our developers used to work earlier. Like they blindly do something deployment, and after that if something goes wrong, they used to say okay, this is what happened, because I don't have an expertise over there. That's what they come up. Now when it comes to the us, right, DevOps engineers, we are certified and we know how to make use of those stuff, like builds, deployments and all. We are kind of experts. Okay, so the job the developers used to do it earlier, the operations job, okay, now is moved to the DevOps guys. Okay, now developers are no more doing any kind of operational activities. Those are migrated from developers to the DevOps guys. Now our job is to do the operations in a professional way, okay, by making use of the proper tools and technologies, okay, and also the standards, so that it will be good for the project. Okay, so we can easily release the product to the customers without having any problems, without causing any deadlines, okay, and with a 100% quality. Okay, the benefits of by making use of by introducing a DevOps team is, the benefits will be, the first and foremost, on time, okay, and second thing is quality, good quality, okay, and third thing is maintenance, okay, and repeatability, or you can call it as a what do you call, reliability. Okay, right. So these are all the advantages. I mean, if you want, if you want to really buzzwords, you can go to my presentation. You'll get to know what all the benefits of it. Okay, more successful releases, consistent release process, predictability, integration, completeness, quality. These are all the benefits of introducing a DevOps team in a software development lifecycle. Okay, I hope you understand what is SDLC, what all the different phases, okay, and why this team is introduced, and what exactly the job which you are doing it. Okay, now not what exactly, I just say there are some problems and we are going to come into the picture and we'll sort out, and we help the developers and other teams and we make the release process smoother. That's what is a broad picture. Okay, now the next part is to to perform this role. Okay, what are all the things you should know? Okay, what are all the things you should learn, right? So that's what is all about the training, guys. Okay, now I just gave a picture of introduction, what is build release management or what is DevOps and all. Okay, only thing is, see, my point of view, all are same. Okay, different companies, they call it the different names because they make them to work on different things. Because look at my profile itself, I worked as a software engineer in my beginning, but actually they asked me to do the builds. Then later I joined as a build and configuration engineer, but they asked me to do the deployments as well. Okay, and later they called me as a release engineer. So in my different companies, they changed my role. I mean, they changed my designation, like release engineer, DevOps engineer, blah blah blah. But ultimately, the job which I'm doing is the same. The work which I'm doing is the same. Okay, whichever the company I go, right, I do the same work. Only thing is, they don't have a standards of giving a proper designation to this guy. Okay, that's still there in the market at the moment. That's the reason never search it in the portals. No, I mean job portals with a DevOps engineer or build engineer. You search with the skill set. Okay, the tools which you know and all. Okay, so now when it comes to the content part, okay, when I say content, nothing but what skills this guy should have. Okay, skills of a DevOps engineer. Okay, now why a company should recruit you to perform this job? Okay, a simple question, why a company recruit you to perform a DevOps job? Okay, so you should give an answer to him, because I know these are all the things. I'm a professional to do this job. Okay, like example I would say in HR case itself. Okay, so instead of purchasing the stationery by HR, right, by going to the shop, okay, they can give it to a vendor. You understand what even a vendor who is expertise in getting the stationary things. Okay, he knows well about, like, where to get the cheaper stationaries and cost effective stationaries and quality stationaries. Okay, so they're expert on it. So now you are something to do like that. Okay, you are trying to get an expert who does the operations better. Okay, don't ask the developer to do this job, you ask an expert, so that your project will go smoother. Okay, now when you're saying an expert, right, as an expert you should have some skill. Okay, now that skill we need to learn and we need to implement in the project. Okay, now when it comes to that, let me start with the first problem itself. I said something like, continuous integration we need to implement, right? It's a, assume like it's a buzzword for you at the moment. You don't know what do you mean by continuous integration. Okay, so this continuous integration, okay, is, it's actually a solution. Okay, now how do you implement this solution? To implement that in the market, we have some tools and technologies. Okay, so example, let me give, okay, I'll give, again I will compare this with something else. See, if you ask any one of the guy, I mean any one of your friend or developer, like, come and do some coding. Okay, you give him a problem and ask him to write a code. You understand what you mean by code, right? So ask him to write some code. So then immediately he'll ask a question, in which programming language I need to write the code? Do you want me to write in C, C++, Java, C Sharp, Swift, Objective-C? So he asks n number of questions, right? Similarly, these guys, I mean, we need to ask the guys who are asking you to implement the continuous integration, in which tool I need to implement the continuous integration, right? Because continuous integration can be implemented with n number of tools. Like, you can write a program in n number of programming languages. Okay, like example, Jenkins is one of the popular tool. Hudson is also same. TeamCity, okay, and Bamboo, Continuum, okay, and there is one is there, Anthil Pro, okay. There are many other guys. You just Google it, you will be knowing it. I'll just try to show you in the Google right away what are all the continuous integration tools available. Okay, continuous integration tools. You just Google it. The first Wikipedia page, you can get it actually. Did you find the Wikipedia? Can you see this? Google is giving the answer. Jenkins, TeamCity, Bamboo. I noted few of them, right? So these are all the tools available. You can make use of that tool, okay, and you can implement it. That's your first problem and the solution. I mean, any of the tool can sort out that problem, okay. Now your job is to learn, understand, implement this tool in the project, okay. So that's what my training is all about. My job is to, like, make you comfortable learning all these tools, okay. I mean, any one of it, okay, and you need to, like, do all this stuff in a for one of the project and implement it. That's it, your job is done, okay. So that's a one problem, and these are all the technologies which you use to sort out the problem. Like similarly, there is one more issue is there, build process automation, okay. So for build process automation, I mean, you might be not knowing what exactly it is at the moment. Just forget about it, okay. Just try to understand, some problem is there, some solution is available, okay. Once you get into the training, you will understand what exactly it is, okay. I given in and out about what is continuous integration. You got an idea now what is continuous integration, okay. Similarly, I cannot give the explanation about each and every problem. Those problem explanation and the solution I'll try to give you when we are going to the sessions, okay. So at this moment, I'm just trying to write out all the responsibilities, what we do it, okay, and which tools we'll be using to implement that. And this build process automation based on the technology which is used by your developers. If they are using Java, we will be using some tools called Ant, Maven, Gradle, blah blah blah. If they are using something like C Sharp or .NET, okay, we'll be using MS Build, okay, Visual Studio, and Ant, okay. If they are using C++, you might use like make, rake, blah blah blah, okay. This is about the second responsibility and what tools you will be using it, okay, as a DevOps engineer. And next, deployment automation, okay. So when it comes to the deployments, as a DevOps engineer, we should know about the servers, okay, the deployment servers, okay, mostly the Linux and Windows servers, okay, and I will be concentrating on Linux, guys, so that's the reason I'll train you the Linux first, okay. Linux OS is mandatory. You should know the Linux operating system, okay, and once that is done, then deployments can be done either with the scripting, okay, or with the tooling. You should know any one of it. So we will be learning one scripting, like there are many scriptings are there, shell, Perl, Python, blah 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 blah, okay. So we'll learn one of the scripting and tooling, okay. We can do the deployment automation with the tools as well, like Chef, Puppet, Ansible, Rundeck, this kind of a number of tools are there. We'll use any one of the tool, okay. And there's a new okay, this is about the deployment part, okay. Now there's one more thing called application servers, okay, and here we'll be learning some app servers, because before the production, right, the application should be deployed into the local environments. What is environment, what is production and all, don't ask me all these questions at the moment, just try to understand. These are all the things which you are going to learn in further days, okay. So like Apache Tomcat, WebLogic, WebSphere, Glassfish, there's so many tools are there, okay, so many application servers are there, any one of them will be learning it, okay. Now version controlling system, or let me call it a source code management system, SCM system, okay. So we have tools something like SVN, Git, CVS, blah blah blah, okay. And under here we'll learn something about cloud hosted tools, GitHub, Bitbucket, etc., okay. Now apart from this, in the modern at this point of time in the industry, there is everything, most of the parts are going to the cloud, okay. So we should have some idea about cloud as well. So to understand the cloud, first of all you should know what is virtualization, okay, virtualization, right, and what do you mean by cloud, okay. And I'm going to train you a couple of concepts called Vagrant, okay, how the Vagrant will allow you to do the instantiation and creating the VMs and all, okay. So this stuff, and also apart from that we'll be learning a bit of containerization, okay, containers. And to learn the containers we'll learn it some tool called Docker as well, okay. And what is the difference between a containers and a virtual machines, because with virtual machines we will be creating the VMs, okay. I mean virtualization will be creating the VMs. What is the difference between a VM and a container? So all this stuff we'll learn. I don't want to make you scared by showing you all these buzzwords and all, but as the training is going on, okay, so we'll learn most of the stuff. And if you are equipped with all these tools and technologies, right, okay, you are fit for the DevOps engineer, okay. You have a right skills and you can apply for this role, and you can implement these things in your project, okay, so that your process or your releases will go smoother, okay. So this is what I just want to try to explain you guys, and a few guys might be asking some content and all. If you want, I can give the well documented content, but these are all the kind of a tool, but I don't cover all the tools, guys. And again, every responsibility, if you know one or two, that's more than enough, okay. You don't need to know all the tools. To train all of them, even 1 year is not sufficient enough, okay. So now I'm going to say what are all the tools I'll be covering in each and every responsibility. So first one, we'll cover this Jenkins or Hudson, okay. And the second thing, we'll cover Ant and Maven, okay. So I'm not considering the .NET C++, because I don't see, I mean the market is morely on Java actually, okay. That's the reason we'll be covering these two. And deployment side, I will train you the Linux. Actually, whoever comes to my training, right, they should know the Linux actually. You have to learn the Linux somewhere else, or you should know already, then only you are supposed to come to the training, because all these tools and technologies we will be setting up on a Linux servers, and we'll be like administrating and maintaining everything we do it on the Linux, okay. We won't be doing much things on the Windows we just use it to connect to the servers only, Linux servers, okay. So but I see most of the people are not aware of the Linux, so I take care of the training of the Linux, okay. And then scripting, so I'll be training the bash shell scripting, guys. And when it comes to the deployment automation tooling, I'll train you the Opscode Chef, okay. And application server point of view, I'm going to train you the Apache Tomcat. And SCM side, I'll cover you SVN and Git, okay. There's both of them. and GitHub a bit as well. Virtualization, it's a concept actually. Vagrant also a kind of a concept, but we'll use the Vagrant extensively to generate the VMs, okay? And I'll explain you what is a Docker and how to create the Docker containers and how to host the what do you call it, the containers on the servers, okay? All these things we'll see it in the further sessions, okay? So this is all about some sort of introduction about the SCM or DevOps or a build engineer or whatever you call it as, okay? So these are all the things which you're going to learn. And yeah, typically I start a training with Linux OS, okay? Before start any technology, right, I'll train you the operating system first, then I'll get into the rest of this stuff, okay? So guys, now from your side, any questions? Sudhir, Kiran,
So
yeah.
what will be the timing
Yeah.
for the class training? I mean,
Uh, is
9
it
to 11.
is it Madhukar?
No, yes, yes.
Yeah, Madhukar. Okay, now let me give you the timelines as well. So weekdays, your timing I'm talking about 11:30 p.m. to 12:30 p.m. This is what because daylight timing is on. That's the reason this 1 hour. Otherwise, earlier, like it used to be like this: 10:30 to 11:30 earlier. Because of daylight time saying is on. That's the reason I'm going for this time. Okay. And when it comes to the weekends, it should be same time like 9 p.m. IST to 11 p.m. IST. Alright, I hope you got the now timings. Okay, now any other questions?
So how many months it would take to complete the session, I mean, overall?
Okay, it's not about the months, overall 40 hours. Now you
40
yeah,
hours.
now you calculate it.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Guys, 40 hours is approximate. Okay, it may go to 44 or it may complete in
Yeah, sure.
39. Yeah, okay. It's
Yeah.
just an approximate.
Yeah.
So see, I'm
Yeah.
expecting by March 10th, guys. The reason it is I'm coming back to India on March 10th, so we have 1 month 10 days. So I need to
Okay.
complete in 1 month 10 days.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any other questions?
Like after the completion of the course, will you guide us through
Okay. Yeah, I forgot
interviews
to.
and all?
Yeah, I forgot to tell you a few more things. Documentation, softwares, profile preparation. Okay. And what else? Uh, Project implementation. Okay. Just by learning the training is not sufficient enough, guys. You need to implement all these tools on a project. Okay. That also I'll take care of it. I'll show you a project entire end to end. How do you implement all these tools? Okay. So these are all taken care, and apart from that, I'll help you with the profiles as well. I'll send you a few profiles and you update with your personal data and your project details and go through thoroughly your profile, and I wanted to review them. I'll review once or twice until I say go right. Don't put it as profile anywhere else. Okay. So ask me to review it. I'll review it and I'll give you my feedback, my comments, correct it and give it to me. But now once I say go ahead, you just go ahead. So that's one part, and that we do it at the end of the training. And software's documentation, everything, I will be creating a directory in the Google Drive. Okay. And I'll share the drive with all of you. Every day's class and the softwares and the class notes, everything I'll upload into that drive. So once I upload it, you can get it from the Google Drive. I'll give you the directory access to all of
Okay.
you. So any other queries?
I'm fine.
Okay, Madhukar is good. So how about you, Kiran?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, cool. So I think Sudhir is not able to talk. I don't know. Sudhir, you're there? I think he's not there. Fine, no issues. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, I have a query. Like,
Yeah, sure.
passed out in 2010. I completed BTech.
Okay.
So can I keep experience 3.5 or 4 like that?
You can keep 3 to 5. Anything is fine. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's no issue at all. You can, minimum is 3. Okay. If you try to keep 4 is ideal actually.
Okay. Fine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Fine. Yeah.
yeah. Any other queries? That's it. Okay. Yeah. So if
Yeah.
that is the case, then thanks so much for your time, guys. I took just 1 hour of your time. So tomorrow we'll meet 9 o'clock. Is it okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fine.
Fine.
Yeah. Tomorrow 9 o'clock we'll start with the Linux session. It will be 2 hours, guys, till 11 o'clock.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll make
Sure.
use of the WhatsApp group and I'll create a Google Gmail
Mhm.
group as well. I'll invite you over there. I'll send a link to there. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you
Yeah. Fine.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
night.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Good
Yeah,
night.
have a
Bye.
good day.